So here's where we are going to record our data. And when recording data, be sure to include units AM or PM, degrees Celsius or degrees Fahrenheit. So you're going to, before you put in, or when you put in the cups into the freezer, you're going to want to make your start time here. So you're going to write, 10 o'clock in the morning. So 10 a.m. you would put 10:00 a.m. Right here. And now in the water, just the plain water, you're going to take the temperature of the water, and you're going to put your thermometer into the water. Remember, don't have it touch the bottom of the cup, and also don't let it touch the sides, but make sure that the tip of the thermometer is at least halfway in to your cup of water. So make sure it goes down into the cup at least halfway in. And try and do that consistently throughout your experiment so that your data is more accurate. So I'm going to put here the temperature of the water. Now it should be warm because I put warm water in there, so that all of my cups should have a very similar temperature. Now when you put your temperature there, make sure you put degrees Celsius or degrees Fahrenheit, whichever one you prefer. Now in the United States, we typically use Fahrenheit, but if you want to be scientific, you use Celsius, or do both of them if you want to. So after I'm done with that, I would move on to the next cup that has the 1 teaspoon of salt, and I would measure the temperature with my thermometer of that cup of water. And then I would do that to this third cup with the 2 teaspoons, and then I would do that with the fourth cup with the 3 teaspoons of salt. Now make sure that every time you use or you measure the temperature, you take your thermometer and you put it underneath the water. You don't really have to do that between the water and then the water plus 1 salt, because it's just water. But with the 1 teaspoon plus salt, you're gonna want to wash it before you go to the next teaspoon of salt, the next cup. So you're going to set a timer for 30 minutes. Once you put the start time here and you put all 4 cups into the freezer, you're going to set a timer for 30 minutes, and you're going to measure the temperature of each cup every 30 minutes for 2 hours. So make sure that you're home for 2 hours before you do this, because we want to be consistent. So you're going to come back in half an hour and put the time here. So I started at 10 o'clock a.m. Now I'm going to put 10:30 a.m. here. I'm going to measure the temperature of the water, and then I'm going to wash my thermometer. Oh, no, I'm not going to wash my thermometer between here and here. I'm going to put my thermometer into the next cup with 1 teaspoon. I'm going to measure the temperature. I'm going to put that temperature here, either in degrees Celsius, degrees Fahrenheit, or both. I'm going to wash my thermometer, and then I'm going to put the thermometer in the water plus 2 teaspoons of salt, and I am going to measure the temperature. Try and keep your thermometer consistently at the same spot every time. So then I'm going to wash my thermometer, and then I'm going to come over here and do that temperature of the 3 teaspoons of salt. I'm going to put them back into the freezer, and then I'm going to set my timer for 30 minutes. Come back in 30 minutes, and you're going to do the same process over again. Set your timer for 30 minutes. You're going to do the same thing. So you're going to do this 1, 2, 3, 4 times after you start. So a total of 5 times. You're going to be taking 5 times 4, 20. You're going to be taking 20 temperatures. So carefully place all 4 cups into the freezer and set a timer for 30 minutes. Record the time at which you place the cups into the freezer in the box labeled Start Time on the first row of the data recordings section. While you wait, set this experiment aside and proceed with the expanding water experiment. So once 30 minutes has passed, open the freezer gently, stick the thermometer in each cup in order from no salt to greater amount of salt, and record the temperature and the time at which you took the reading. So you're going to have to take the temperature in the freezer if possible, or if you do pull it out, you're going to have to be quick about it. Once 30 minutes has passed, open the freezer, gently stick the thermometer, wait, I already read this part. Set your timer for 30 minutes again. Repeat step 6 3 more times every 30 minutes so that you have a total of 5 readings. After the last reading, pull the cups out and observe the characteristics of the ice in each cup. Record your observations by either writing and/or drawing what you see. Be sure to clean up. This is an important lab habit. Optional. Go one step further. Try the same experiment but with sugar. Does sugar affect the freezing point of water the same way salt does? The way salt breaks down and the way sugar breaks down in water is different. This would explain any differences you observe. Okay, so while you're waiting every half hour to do the water experiment, the first water experiment, you're going to start working on the expanding the water experiment. At any time you can come back and rewind this video or pause the video if you need to digest what's really going on. That's why I like doing the videos, so that you can stop it and do it at your own pace. In this experiment, I think I have it bigger here. Okay, lesson 5, expanding water experiment. In this experiment, we will observe the rare property water has to expand when freezing. The molecules of liquid water are able to crowd together, but upon freezing, these molecules form a crystalline lattice structure in the shape of a hexagon. This takes up more space than when the molecules are in liquid form. So here's your hypothesis. You're going to make an educated guess. In this experiment, we will be marking a level of water, then observing where the water level is after it is frozen. Based on what you've learned so far, form a hypothesis on what will happen to the water level after freezing. So here's where you are going to write your hypothesis before you move on. Expanding water experiment instructions. You're going to gather all of the supplies needed. A cup filled halfway with water. You may choose to color the water with food coloring if desired. A straw, Play-Doh, a short glass cup or jar, and a permanent marker. You're going to roll up a small mound of Play-Doh, about 1 to 2 inches in diameter, and place it in the bottom of your clear jar. 2. Draw up some water into your straw by placing your straw into the cup of water, or the colored water. Then place your thumb over the top opening to create suction and pull out the straw with your thumb still covering the hole. If you need help from an adult because your little fingertips are too small, please do that. Carefully lodge the straw, water side down, into the center of the Play-Doh. The Play-Doh will hold the straw vertically in place. So make sure you have enough water in the straw so that you can place it into the jar, into the Play-Doh, and be able to mark with a marker. With a permanent marker, carefully mark the top of the water line on the straw. Your experiment should look similar to the second image next to it, right here. Gently place your jar with the straw into the freezer. Be sure the jar will be able to sit straight up and undisturbed during this time. Immediately set a timer for about 1 to 1.5 hours. After sufficient time has passed, pull out your jar. Observe the water level. Don't forget to clean up when you are done. So here's what you're going to be writing on. Notes during my experiment. If there's something that you noticed or something that you wanted to mention, you would put that right here. Your results, what did you observe? What did you notice about the water level after the water froze? What can you conclude about the freezing properties of water? You would put all that information here. What happened? Because water expands when going from a liquid state to a solid state, you should have noticed okay, I'm not going to read that. I want you to tell me what happened. Okay, so let's go back to the first experiment, the freezing point of water experiment. You're going to do the same thing where you have notes during your experiment, anything that you observed, and then you're going to record your data, right? Remember, you're going to record all your data here in this chart, and you are going to write down your observations. This is where your, what have you noticed? Draw some pictures here if you want to. This is where you're going to put your information of what happened during the experiment. And then your results. What did you observe? Which cups of water froze faster? What were the differences in temperature of each cup? What do you think caused the outcome of this experiment? So let's see. Just be sure to fill out the notes during the experiment above the data recording section and the next page for results, which is right here. Matter usually follows the steps of phase transitions that we learned today, but there are some exceptions. This is what makes science and chemistry so fascinating. So I put up an optional challenge. I want you to research these two phrases, no melting point and supercooling. And I want you to come in and share with the class on Thursday. I want you to bring your definition of what this might mean, no melting point, or what supercooling might mean, and an example of each exception. If desired, find and research more examples of instances where matter does not follow the common phase change transitions. So I do have some videos up that have that show in action deposition and sublimation. I am also going to post a video of water freezing so that you can see what that looks like. I want you to bring to class on Thursday types of phase transitions, this paper, and we are going to work on that in class together. I want you to send me some pictures of you doing the experiments to add in our gallery if you want. Have fun, and we'll see you on Thursday.